Today I'm going to show you how to maintain perfect eye contact with your virtual audience. Let me show you how it's done. How did songs long ago come up? What was the context? I'm Billy Davis, and I'm a lawyer who spent years defending clients in business and industry from lawsuits. In that whole time, I've never met anybody who's enjoyed being sued, which is why I teach management employees the skills needed to mitigate their litigation risk. You may have seen my previous videos on how to use lights and camera angles to improve your appearance on video conference calls. If you haven't seen them yet, or if you just need a refresher, you can find them on my YouTube page. I'll put a link in the comments below. Now I'm going to expand on what I covered in those earlier videos to talk about how you can make a connection with your virtual audience. The goal of this series is to help you look more natural and conversational in front of the camera. And I'm going to do that by showing you this setup, which is the one that I use to attend virtual hearings in court. So let's get started with good eye contact. If you make presentations, whether it be a sales pitch, an argument to a judge in court, or a presentation to your colleagues, eye contact is king. If you don't make eye contact with your audience, you'll never establish a connection with them. Now, I've heard some folks say that video is not a good medium for establishing rapport. It's just not the same as being there live, is what people tell me. While it may be true that video presents some challenges in establishing rapport with your audience, it's definitely possible to establish a real emotional connection with them. Folks who do professional presentations will tell you that the eyes are the windows to the soul. Maintaining great eye contact is the cornerstone of any good presentation. In video, we're not making real eye contact, so we have to figure out how to create the illusion of eye contact. And I'll tell you, video does present us with a couple of surprise advantages in terms of making a connection with an audience. You know those movies that you watch or YouTube videos that you've seen that you felt an emotional connection to? Well, the storytellers in that context were at a great disadvantage because they had no way to interact with their audience, no way to know how the audience was experiencing what they're watching. But with video conference calls, it's a two-way medium. So there's still an opportunity for you to engage with your audience, see how they're reacting to what you're saying in real time. Let me show you how we can do that. The trick is in the setup. If you're using a laptop or a desktop for your video conference calls, that type of arrangement forces you to make a choice that is very detrimental to maintaining contact with your audience. That choice is, do I look at the camera or do I look at the screen? Now you might be thinking, well, on my laptop, the camera is just at the top of the screen, just 4 inches away from the middle of it. How does that make a difference? The difference is in your proximity to the camera. Here I am using a typical laptop. Now watch as my eyes move up and down as they transition from looking at my screen to looking back at my camera. If you think about it, when you're sitting in front of your laptop, you're only a couple of feet away from the camera. Let's say you have some notes on your screen, or better yet, the faces of the persons you're presenting to. They're probably 4 to 6 inches away from your camera. Now at close distances, that is when the speaker is close to the camera and the screen, that 4 to 6 inch distance creates a fairly wide arc that your eyes need to cover in order to look from the screen and back to the camera. Because this arc is so wide, your eyes must move further, and thus the camera picks up your eye movements. But as we increase the distance between the speaker, the camera, and the screen, that angle becomes much shallower and much less perceptible. You can create a setup that will allow you to maintain the illusion of eye contact in a much more realistic and organic way. If you're making professional presentations over video conference, hopefully you have access to either a conference room or really just any room that is long and rectangular. You can take advantage of the length of the room to create a setup that allows you to put a great deal of space between the speaker, the camera, and the screen at the other end of the room. Here's how I do it. Here I am at one end of the long side of the room. This is where I'll be standing to give my presentation, and the audience will see what's behind me. In the middle of the room is the camera that's going to capture this presentation. And on the other end of the room is our large TV, or in this case, a projector screen, that has the participants in the Zoom call. Here I am using the whole conference room to deliver a presentation on a complex piece of electronic equipment to several colleagues. You can see how the faces of the participants are clearly visible when blown up on a big screen at the end of the room. This allows me to see what the audience is doing. Are they engaged? Did they laugh at my joke? Do they look confused by something that I said? Having information about what the audience is thinking is vital to establishing a connection. Just think about how much more personal the experience is if you recognize the confusion on his or her face and say something directly to them. Girdle spring on the up end of the gram meters. Maggie, I see you might have a comment on the last thing that I said. Is there a question I can answer for you?
Yeah, I'm really not sure what you're talking about at all.
By using a long room in this type of setup, you can connect with the virtual audience in a really authentic way. It's almost as good as being there. Well, that'll wrap this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope it'll help you with whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. If you have any questions about any of this, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a comment below. I love to read the comments, and I'll be sure to respond to you. Also, I'd appreciate it if you'd click the subscribe button and click the bell to get notified whenever I release a new video. Next week, I'm going to tell you how to use notes during a video conference in a way that no one will know that you're reading directly from your notes. Be sure to tune in. Until then, stay happy, my friends.